Hey guys, welcome in. I hope you all are doing all right. My name is Brianna, and this is going to be your energetic astrological update for the next couple of days. I will be using some of the current astrology within this reading. However, the messages that come through this reading are timeless. I will also be using a combination of both oracle and tarot cards within this reading, which I have already pulled out here on the table. But based on what we have here on the table, you guys, I will say that it feels to me like the collective is at a crossroads. We have here the stingray. The stingray card talks about being at a pivotal point of like spiritual or personal growth. It's a crossroads energy where we have two choices, right? The first choice is what's familiar and what's comfortable, and the other choice is something that's new. It's completely unfamiliar, and it might even be a little bit scary or uncomfortable, whatever this choice is, right? I'm seeing the bridge card in one of my other decks, the bridge crossing over this choice, this one that's new and unfamiliar, maybe even a little bit scary and uncomfortable. It may require some like confidence to move in that direction. This card also talks about ascending, right? Moving through discomfort to ascend. If you can see here, the stingray has all of its chakras lit up. So it's like ascending from maybe a lower dimension into higher dimensions of existence. So whatever this choice is that the collective is being faced with, it may have something to do with the current astrology, which I'm going to get into, but it requires, I want to say, like this unstoppable courage or this unstoppable force, because the next card we have out here is the elephant. And the elephant talks about like blasting through obstacles, using the knowledge and the wisdom that you have. I'm looking at this elephant's third eye, right? There's this red gem on the elephant's third eye, and red is connected to the root chakra, right? If we go back to this stingray energy, the root chakra or the base chakra are foundational chakras, right? All of our foundational energies are stored within this base chakra. So this elephant having this like ruby or gem in its third eye is telling me that perhaps you've learned or you have this wisdom, this integrated wisdom about self, about your foundation, the foundation of who you are. You've built up this foundation, right? And you have this integrated knowledge, self-knowledge, knowledge of self. And this knowledge is what's going to, or maybe it's what's opening the door, opening the gate, creating the bridge for you to cross over into something new. So what I'm getting from this message is that you've completed a prerequisite. I'm getting like a foundational course. I don't want to call it a course because it's life, but you've completed a significant phase, right? A significant phase of personal development, self-development, and now this door is opening for you to ascend into the next phase, right? And I'm feeling like this next phase has a lot to do with the revelation of some sort of desire, right? Some sort of dream, something After the root chakra, we have the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is like our emotional foundation, right? It's like how we connect with others emotionally. It's like pleasure and satisfaction. So, whatever you're moving into, it may feel a little bit better than what you are moving away from. At the bottom of this deck, we have the unicorn. The unicorn is a very like high vibrational frequency. It's like a potent frequency, but this frequency is yours, right? This unicorn is you when you are connected with your intuition, your true self, your higher self, or just like this higher level of consciousness, divine consciousness. The unicorn has the fox. The unicorn has this horn coming out of the area where its third eye is located, right? And I always see this as like an antenna that helps you reach further, right? Reach further, stretch your frequency just a bit further. So the unicorn is here talking about intuition, higher wisdom, and divinity, right? Third eye chakra. Your third eye chakra is the bridge that connects the ego, right? The ego to higher dimensions of consciousness, right? So that we can receive wisdom. I feel like, especially based on the astrology that we have, your higher self is trying to connect you with this desire, right? With this dream. There may be some information, some communication about your purpose. This card also talks about awakenings, activations, integrations, new awareness, right? So it may be like receiving some information, some data about your purpose or your next phase, right? This card is also giving like mercurial energy. And we do have Mercury coming up in the astrology portion of this reading. Okay. Should we get into the astrology? Let's see. There is a contract here. There's like this new connection. This new connection, it's pure. And I feel like it has to do with that higher dimension of emotional experience. Okay, let's just talk about this connection really quickly and then we'll get into some of the astrology. We have two cards that came out to confirm this connection. The first card is the ring. The ring, it talks about a deep bond with yourself, with another, or with spirit. This ring talks about like intimacy, connections, and like sacred bonds, sacred cycles. So this person, this connection that's coming in for you, it could be someone that you are, I want to say, destined to move through your next phase with, right? You two match each other in terms of frequency and destiny, right? Your destinies are kind of like intertwined or like interwoven. And you guys are coming together. The next phase. Something about the next phase. We have the tear as the second card that came out. The tear talks about more of that intimate energy, right? I'm not feeling like this is a romantic connection. It could be, but it's giving more like friendship, like a supporting partner, a supporting character. You guys are going to support one another, right? Um, the tier also talks about healing. Um, okay, so it's like releasing pent up, stagnant, toxic emotions, right? Releasing toxic emotions through maybe like crying, because this is the tier, and that release of emotions, it like breaks you through into a dimension where you can experience these higher dimensional emotional experiences, right? It's like pure intimacy, clean intimacy. And I'm not referring to intimacy in terms of like sex, right? But it could be. It could be. But what I'm actually feeling is like a deep connection, right? Someone that you get to be yourself around, right? Someone who understands you. That's bringing me to the astrology, right? We have Mercury conjunct Jupiter making a sextile to Venus, right? And when I'm thinking about like understanding someone, Venus esoterically rules divine love and wisdom, right? Love through wisdom. So this isn't just like superficial love, I love you. It's like, I understand you, right? I understand you. And because I understand you, the love that I have for you, it penetrates deeper, right? You feel seen because I understand you. You feel supported because I understand you, right? So this is a connection with someone. It could be a lover, it could be a friend, it could be a group of people, because I'm also seeing the soul family card here. This card actually came out after the elephant. Soul family, it could be a group of people that you are reconnecting with, and this group of people, they understand you on a deep soul level, and it just makes you feel like you belong, right? So this connection, whether it's romantic, platonic, or like familial, right? New family, a new family, it's going to cleanse your sacral chakra, right? Remember, we're ascending from the root chakra into the sacral chakra. If there were like toxic emotions stored within your sacral chakra, whatever this connection is, it's going to help you like the rain, cleanse, release, and heal those emotions so that you can move into like these pure, clean emotions, right? Feelings. Okay, and then some of the other cards that came out just to like confirm this message are marriage. Marriage is a number 3, right? Number 3 talks about harmony and alignment. I'm also getting like the 3 of Cups in the tarot. The 3 of Cups in the tarot is Mercury in Cancer. And in that card, let me see if I can find it really quickly just for reference. There are 3 people in this card, right? Esoterically, this card talks about the Holy Trinity, right? It's like 2 people, the 2 of Cups, right? That comes before this. 2 people come together and they create a third being or a third dynamic, a third energy. It could be like the mother, the father, and the baby, right? But what I'm actually getting with this, like if we're looking at this card in terms of astrology, this is Mercury in Cancer. It talks about alignment, right? The triangle, alignment, harmony, harmonious Cancer, emotional, Mercury, communication, harmonious emotional communication, communicating yourself with love, right? Sharing your feelings or sharing abundant feelings of love amongst a group. So going back to this, this marriage card, right? It's not like the traditional marriage. There are 3 marriage cards in this deck. This one represents like friendship and like those deep emotional or deep spiritual bonds that we've been talking about. So it could be a friend that you're connecting with, soul family, someone who understands you. It could be a romantic partner. It could be a group. But whatever it is, it's pure, right? Because we have the baby here, innocent, new, fresh, purity, good intentions, something or someone that you can trust. And then at the bottom of this deck, you guys, we have the child. This child represents like more of that pure energy, right? Arousal, curiosity, virgin, innocent. Then behind that, we have hope. The anchor talks about fulfillment of a desire, attainment of a manifestation. And we have the parlor. So this may be a desire, right? A desire for friendship, a desire for support, a desire for community, a desire for someone who understands you that's been maybe like put on the back burner, like stored away in the parlor, like, oh, I'll get to it later. Maybe you forgot about this desire, or maybe you just had other things to work on. I see another marriage here. Another marriage. This is the work contract. So maybe you were in another contract with someone. This is like a working partnership. We have the heart right behind that. We have the heart. And then behind that, we have the mice. This is a lower vibrational. And then right behind that, we have the fox and the mountain. Okay, so maybe you were tied up in I don't know if you guys can see that. The fox talks about deceit, trickery. Things aren't as they seem. And then the mountain is challenge, struggle, obstacle. The mice is like theft and destruction and loss. And then we have the heart. So maybe you feel like maybe you were working on pulling your emotional energies. Remember we talked about that sacral chakra energy, right? The lower vibrational emotional experiences stored within the sacral chakra. Maybe you were working on pulling your energy out of that, right? To reach this state of purity, right? This is alignment. Now that you're in this state of emotional purity and innocence, you're opening up to pure, peaceful, I want to say like clean connections, innocent connections. We saw the fox with that last working contract, right? It doesn't have to be work. It's just like a contract, maybe a spiritual contract that you were working on. That one was deceitful. This one is pure. Okay, let's get into some of the astrology. Actually, let's get an overall energy. Okay, show me an overall energy for this reading, Spirit. We have nurturing, mother of all, unresolved past, transitioning, messages and I want to get one more with this nurturing card. Nurturing is a number 2. There's like a mother here. I feel like, okay. Actually, I don't want to use this deck. I want to use the tarot. Okay. I wish I had another tarot deck, like a mini one, a pocket one. Okay, tell me about this nurturing card. Tell me about nurturing. Mother of all. I have the King of Cups. Whoa. Okay, so the King of Cups and nurturing. The King of Cups and nurturing. You can see, like, she's a mother, right? And she's feeding her children, her babies, or one of her babies. So this is going back to what I was talking about receiving that healing emotion with the tear, right? A connection that's going to, I want to say, uplift you, fulfill you. It could be coming from a King of Cups, or I'm getting like emotion that fills your cup to the brim, right? Because the King of Cups is he's the last archetype of the cups suit, right? So it's like filling your cup up to the max so that you can maybe like give back. The King of Cups gives back. I want to say so that you can give back. So it's like, or maybe so that you have the energy. Okay, so going back to, okay, so there's a message here about a past contract, right? A past contract depleting your energy, your life force energy, your joy, your enthusiasm, maybe even like your creativity, whatever this connection was, it drained your emotional resources. And it's hard to manifest when we don't have that, I want to say purified, but it's more like higher vibrational emotional energy. If you notice, people who are just like naturally happy and joyous and true, authentic, right? It's easier for them to manifest and receive positive outcomes. But those of us who are like drained and depleted of our happiness, our joy, it's harder for us to manifest because that water is like the water that nurtures our manifestation, right? And we do have nurturing here. So I'm feeling like a past contract may have depleted you of your energy, and now this new contract is coming in to fill your cup, fill your cup to the brim, so that you can give back, or so that you can create, manifest. We have unresolved past and transition. So as I mentioned, this cycle, this unresolved cycle is done. You're moving out of it, right? Maybe you're pulling your energies out of it, cleaning up, pulling the remainder of your life force energy out of this past relationship. And then we have Hermes, which talks about messages, and then we have Dionysus. There's a message here about ecstasy, sacral chakra energy, pleasure, fulfillment. Okay, and the other two cards that came out to confirm this nurturing card, we have the Four of Swords and the Four of Cups. 4 talks about like order, establishing order and boundaries. 444 is like a number, an angel number that's connected to protection, right? A lot of people say like 444 correlates to spiritual protection, but I feel like yes, right? Spiritual protection, yes, but it's like the protection that you cultivate for yourself through establishing these boundaries. This card talks about cutting away sources of suffering. It talks about taking taking intentional action to like bring peace to your mind, establish peace in your mind. And this card talks about, a lot of people say like missed opportunities or rejecting an opportunity. This is more about like rejecting those opportunities that don't align with your desire, right? Boundaries. This guy in this card is like, no, that's not what I asked for. That's not what I want. So this could be like someone offering you a cup. But the water in this cup is poisoned. It's toxic. So this is like establishing those emotional boundaries, even if it means, or especially if it means saying no to what's not aligned. This card also talks about a desire for deeper fulfillment. This is the moon in Cancer. A desire for deeper fulfillment, right? So this is like holding out for what you really want, saying no to maybe these energies, conflicting energies that were connections, relationships with other people that conflict your actual desire, right? Okay, there's something here. Holding out for a message could be like a signal that you're receiving from your higher self about whatever this ecstasy is, this happiness, this fulfillment. Let's just talk about some of the current astrology. We have Mercury making a conjunction to Jupiter in Leo. Mercury is making a conjunction to Jupiter in Leo. A conjunction is when like two planetary bodies are close enough for their energies to like mix and blend and create this new dynamic, right? The result or the flavor of that dynamic is going to vary just depending on which energies are involved in the conjunction, right? So when we have Mercury and Jupiter conjunct, this dynamic or new dynamic of energy that they produce together is going to, I want to say, open this window. This is a very like high vibrational conjunction. It's opening a window for communication. That's Mercury. Maybe even like expansive communication, because Jupiter like grows and expands whatever it touches. So this could be like expansive wisdom, expansive communication that your higher self wants you to receive. When we're talking about Jupiter, right? Jupiter grows us, right? Jupiter expands us so that we feel knowledgeable and prepared for our mission or our purpose or this next phase of our soul's blueprint. Traditionally, Jupiter talks about like good fortune and good luck and like gifts bestowed from the heavens. But but there are requirements, right? If we take it back behind the scenes, Jupiter gives us the wisdom, right? The soul wisdom to cultivate this good fortune and this abundance, right? This dharma for ourselves, right? So it's not just like this automatic thing. Jupiter makes us work for it. I'm getting something about Odin. Odin gave his eye to receive more wisdom. So it's like receiving wisdom. Maybe you don't have to give your eye, but it's like receiving wisdom that enables you to expand materially, right? So when we're talking about Mercury conjunct Jupiter, right? There's this ask for stillness and contemplation, right? Stillness and contemplation so that we can channel this expansive wisdom. Maybe you don't have to go into meditation. These are some of the cards that I pulled to confirm the astrology. Maybe you don't have to go into meditation, but it's just like we did see the Four of Swords. So maybe it's just like taking a break, cutting out like mental distractions, creating a clear and pure channel so that you can receive whatever this data is that wants to come in. So we talked about Jupiter. Mercury is divine consciousness, right? I always talk about Mercury as being like our higher selves or the highest mind, It's like that well of divine wisdom. This is the well. We did see Hermes, right? This is the well that Hermes gets his wisdom from, right? Hermes is the messenger that carries messages like from the gods to the mortals. So Hermes gets his wisdom from, or the data from Mercury, and he carries it to us, right? The human mind. So Mercury is like that well of communication. It's a fourth ray planet of beauty and harmony through conflict. So if there's conflict, right, we did see the Five of Swords, which talks about mental conflict, mental clash. If there's conflict, Mercury asks that we create this sense of stillness so that we can receive this harmonious communication or communication that's going to create harmony within our minds and that manifests as harmony within our reality. This information, this data that we are receiving from our higher selves, right? Maybe we have to stretch our frequency to meet Hermes to receive this message, but this data is going to help us evolve our consciousness and become ready for, I want to say, soul purpose. Okay, so I have Mercury and Jupiter together are creating a window or an opening for divine instruction to reach us. Mercury and Jupiter together are creating a window for divine instruction to reach us. We can align with this window by practicing stillness and balance with intention to receive clarity and insight. So that's what we have here, right? Stillness, balance, balancing the mind, balancing the swords, right? This card also gives crossroads energy. So it's like this way or that way, but what I'm getting with this is like balancing the mind so that we can receive this insight. And then the next card out is the Page of Swords. Maybe we do receive this insight. The Page of Swords is earth and air. So it's like grounding in this spiritual wisdom, right? And then leading with that. It's like, this is the sword that I choose, or this is this information, this insight, this purpose, my soul's truth, this desire, right? Whatever this data is, remember swords represents like wisdom, communication, and data. It's the mind. So it's like, whatever this data is, it's like grounding it in and standing firm with that, right? Okay, so after those two cards, the Two of Swords, the Page of Swords, we have the Page of Pentacles. And this card came out in like one of my previous, it wasn't a reading, it was just a post that I posted on the community board. The Page of Pentacles was coming out talking about like the beginning of this new adventure. It's like being reborn onto this new pathway, right? This card talks about rebirth, renewal, and reincarnation. It's like another chance to get something right. So if that, because we're talking about rebirth, right? Being reborn, it's like another chance to get something right. So if that past connection, right? That past contract was like your first chance to like try, right? Try at relationships, and maybe you discovered like this isn't right, this doesn't feel good, this isn't for me, right? I want something different, I want something better. I'm holding out for something better, right? No, I reject that. That's not in alignment with what I want for myself. This new connection is another opportunity to get it right, another opportunity to build a successful relationship, right? This card talks about building something, cultivating something. You have this seed. What are you going to do with it? And then what is it going to grow into? Okay, so we have Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury conjunct Jupiter and Leo. So this conjunction of energy is making a sextile to Venus. So this sextile between Mercury and Jupiter to Venus is creating, like, it's a window, it's an opportunity to integrate this key piece of like data. And the sextile, right? It doesn't happen automatically, right? It's not like an automatic integration. It requires like this conscious action, or like this pivot, or this choice. There was the stingray, which talked about being at a crossroads, right? So this choice is going to have a lot to do with Venus, right? Venusian energy. Venus, like I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it, but she is a second ray planet of love and wisdom, right? So it's like using the wisdom that you have to make choices that honor yourself. What do I have here? Venus is a second ray planet of love and wisdom, and she helps us evolve from the lower heart to the higher heart through choices, right? Through wisdom. I talked about it a little bit with the elephant card, right? We've learned a lot from this root chakra. Root chakra is giving like lower dimensions. It's the lowest of the dimension. So it's like hellish experiences where there is a lot of fighting and conflict and abuse and control and like domination and like suppression and like stealing and taking. Like, give me that energy, give me that love, and what I'm going to give you back is abuse, right? So in those lower dimensions, we learn to fight and stand up for ourselves. And then we evolve, right? Venus is here. This sextile is here to help us my headphones went off. This sextile is here, is to help us evolve from the lower heart into the higher heart. So it's like those lower densities. I'm getting like, I see this card here, the forest. If this is the heart, right? These are like those dark, dense, mucky, like icky, gunky emotions that we collected from our lower dimensional experiences, or from relationships that abuse and take and deplete, right? So Venus is helping us evolve from the lower heart into this higher heart energy. So it's like going from this darkness into color, right? More color. So Venus teaches us what we actually want by taking us through experiences that don't feel good, right? When we go through these painful experiences, we learn, hopefully we learn this, that love isn't supposed to feel this way, right? This isn't true love. This isn't what my soul desires. This isn't the way I want to be loved, right? Okay, so Venus teaches us how to develop soul values, heart desire, and self-awareness. Okay, so we have Mercury conjunct Jupiter making a sextile to Venus. There's a choice right now to be made in this energy. It's this way or that way, right? I feel like Mercury and Jupiter, that conjunction of energy that we talked about, is also opposing Pluto. It's opposing Pluto. And opposition is when two dynamics are opposing one another, right? Polar opposites, it's like this conflict, this push and pull. Which one is going to win, right? So we have this conjunction of energy, this expansive energy, or this communication from your higher self that wants to expand you and help you move in the right direction through making these choices that honor yourself, right? Honor your core values or your heart's desires, and that energy is being opposed by Pluto. Pluto is the underworld, or the lord of the underworld. When we are incarnated, our underworld is our subconscious, right? So it's like the energy stored within our subconscious are opposing this higher, wiser, like expansive energy. So there is like this choice, this push and pull between, I want to say, lower dimensions and higher dimensions, right? So guys, just be mindful. Be mindful. What do I want to say about this lower dimension, higher dimension opposition? Okay, let's go back to the elephant because my eyes keep looking at it. The elephant, this root chakra energy, this is going to be like those lower dimensions. Remember I talked about how the elephant has learned all of this wisdom, or gathered all of this wisdom, this knowledge, this information about self in the lower dimension. So as we move through this energy, just remember that you've already completed a lesson and you don't need to repeat the lesson unless you choose, right? Unless you choose to stay, I want to say complacent, right? Not move, because there is like an action, there's inspired action required to align with this new thing. And you have to listen, you have to sit and listen to see what that action is for you. It's going to be different for each of us, but you've already learned everything you need to learn from this lower dimensional experience, right? You've gathered this sense of self, this sense of stability, and now there's an opportunity or a potential to move. It's like to level up into a more peaceful experience, right? A more harmonious experience, but there is some like action required from you because we have Mercury and Jupiter making this opposition to Pluto. This experience, this lower dimensional experience, this lower dimensional connection, whatever it is, it's like pushing. It wants to like suppress, it wants to maybe cling or get you to change your mind. It wants to like draw you back in, but there has to be like this choice to walk away from what's draining you. This is an action, right? He's walking away. This is an action that he's taking, and he's walking away into the Four of Wands. This is that personal stability. Remember that the wands are like the root chakra energy. Four is about stability and order. This is about cultivating or just maintaining that sense of internal stability, right? Internal stability, it's going to lead to the manifestation of a desire. This is a foundation that you create for yourself. This foundation acts as a springboard into a manifestation. The last card that we have out here is the world, this is Saturn, this is the test, but this card talks about completing the test and moving on to your next phase, right? Completion, successful initiation, learning from experience, and carrying your awareness into a new cycle, right? This is the opportunity. Okay. I'm going to leave this reading here, you guys. Thank you all so much for being here. If you found these messages to be helpful, please like the video, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and leave a comment, even if the comment is just an emoji, because your engagement and interaction with these videos, it does help the channel grow by letting YouTube know that these videos are helpful, right? So your engagement and interaction, it like sends this signal to YouTube that says, hey, these videos, these messages are helpful, and in turn YouTube shows the videos to a wider audience. Okay, so I appreciate all of your likes, your comments, and your subscriptions. Again, I hope this information, the energy, the messages that came through in this reading do serve and support you on your journey, no matter where you are, which phase of your journey you're on. If you guys need anything from me, you can reach out to me through the contact link in my bio. I'll be sure to get back to you. Just send me a message, and yeah, okay, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.